Swen's new car. New car. It's douche time, guys. You have to wear your cap this way, the hat being pressed flat down. Make it as ugly as possible. Then grab this. Shutter shades from 2007, and then you have to do this.
What the fuck?
What do you think, guys? I look cool, right? Yo, this is like, know what I'm saying, man? Fucking cool. That's how you roll, bitch. The leg too long, the leg too long. Yeah, okay, enough.
Client. And how did it look normal?
Perfect, bro. I took off the shutter shades and this song played.
A few moments later.
I promised y'all food, so here we go, food. This is what I'm having today. Sliced fish, thick noodles, thick bihun. Sliced fish. Imi. What's imi in English? No.
Egg noodles.
Egg noodles?
Fried egg noodles.
What's Sean having? Prawn noodles, ah?
Yeah.
Prawn noodles. What time? Enjoy it?
Yep, good stuff.
Kenji's on this whole detox diet and he's abstaining from meat for 40 days. 40 days, right? 4 months. Yeah, he's been going strong. Like not even a single cheat day, so it's pretty cool. Suen and Mabel are having this liver dish. Meatballs. And basil chicken. And Suen just that. Welcome to lunch, everyone. This is a very typical, I guess, lunchtime kind of food for the average Singaporean. You know, the working crowd, as you can see around, people are just taking a lunch break. So this is very typical hawker center kind of food that we eat that's not too expensive. So like, for example, a bowl of my sliced fish noodles is about $4, which is pretty affordable. I mean, you can find cheaper, like maybe like $3.50 or $3 if you're really lucky. But generally, within the $5 range is the usual amount that you'll spend for lunch, and that doesn't include a drink. So that's the average price of lunch if you eat out. Just gonna quickly just pan the camera around and show you guys what the crowd is usually like. Of course, I have the Rondelle with me today. The Rondelle is a prototype sent to me by Ansa of Conceptual Designs. Swap the buttons out for DNA spinnetic buttons because they're awesome. Okay, time to dig in. Sugarcane juice with a slice of lemon. Pretty awesome.
6.5 hours later.
This might come as a surprise to all of you, but yes, we went to the gym today. Virgin Active. It's my active virgin experience. Why the music suddenly so loud? Anyway, we are here at GYG. Yes, we finally have GYG in Singapore. Everyone's eating and I'm gonna show you what we're having. I mean, you guys should be able to identify what it is because it's not Asian food, it's Mexican food.
Nachos. Burrito bowl. Burrito bowl fish. Taco with triple meat.
Burrito bowl, spicy chicken.
Hey you guys, I'm almost home as you can tell from the background. I think you guys are more or less familiar with the background, especially when I'm walking home. I wanted to actually talk a lot more about the Rondelle that I have in my hand right now, but I had a long day, went to the gym with my colleagues. We wanted to try out a new experience, so we went to one of the Virgin Active clubs and we just tried the whole experience out, and I gotta say that it was quite a good experience. Very interesting, very new experience for me, but also a very tiring one. Took a cycling kind of class. Well, I pushed myself a little bit too hard, so now I'm really worn out. And then we had a really good dinner at GYG, so I'm just gonna quickly talk to you about some of the specs of the Rondelle, and I'll probably continue about the rest of the spinner in another part of the video when I'm feeling less tired. The Rondelle is made of stainless steel. 3 options available: machine finish, media blasted, or polished. This prototype is in a media blasted finish, and the buttons on this right now are the DNA buttons from Spinnetics. So this is not the stock Rondelle button, and I will just tell you right now that my main gripe is that the Rondelle stock buttons aren't really the best buttons in my opinion. They are a little bit too slippery because they feature an outward convex. Yeah, it's like an outward convex leading into a concave, so I don't really like that. I found it a little bit too slippery, so I swapped it up, and now with this beautiful concave of the DNA series buttons, I think this is perfect. And I've already given this feedback over to Ansar of Conceptual Designs, and I think that he's taken it in. But really quickly, this weighs in at a perfect weight for me. It is small, but it weighs in at 60. Let me get the right light. It is small, but it weighs in at about 63 grams. So you guys know I like spinners that weigh between 60 to 120 grams, and 63 is just great for this size. Now, stated on the website is that the Rondelle spinner has a diameter of about 4 centimeters, but I measured it, and I think that the spin diameter is about 5 centimeters, and 4 centimeters is the length of one of the sides. So it's not too big and not too small. It doesn't classify as a micro spinner, but it is slightly smaller than most spinners. But it's a very comfortable size, I would say, and the edges and all that cutting and the whole design of it is really cool. Just a little backstory, the design was inspired by the Rondelle bead. That's why it's called the Rondelle. That is why basically Ansar named it the Rondelle. He first saw a Rondelle bead as a jewelry piece being worn by his sister, and so he was inspired by that and decided to create a spinner out of that design. It's going for 60 pounds, which translates to about roughly 80 USD, which is quite affordable. And check this out, 80% of the profits go to charities, and also to help, I believe, I might be wrong about this, but also to help in cancer research. So it's a pretty awesome thing. I think that's what I want to share about the Rondelle spinner right now. Kind of tired, so I will continue filming maybe tomorrow when I'm feeling less tired. Yeah, there's a little crying child. So Rondelle spinner, everyone. I'll catch you on the next part. I know it's not too late, so hello everyone and welcome to A Slice of My Life. Here we have the Rondelle, and I know that you guys want to see a little bit more of it, so here we go. This is what the Rondelle looks like, but please take note, this is a sample version. It is a prototype, which also means that there's a funny circular mark around this, so you have to ignore that. This will not be present on the actual retail version of the Rondelle. Now for this version as well, it features a slight bead blasted or media blasted finish. That is because you can actually see some of the machining marks on the sides. See that? I know it's very subtle, but yeah, in real life I can see it really clear. And then it's also lightly bead blasted. Just wanted to point that out to you guys. But I think that the lines and everything, the whole geometric design and shape of the Rondelle spinner is beautiful. There isn't really an equilateral triangular shape on the top face of the spinner. As you can see, there is some outward angles here. On first glance, it looks like an equilateral triangle, but when you look at it closer, you realize it's not. The equilateral triangle is the outermost line out here, but it's got notches cut in at a very gentle angle, which makes it really comfortable. And you have basically another angle out here and another angle up here, which gives it a really interesting geometric look. Now the edges here, they are more pronounced, but they're not sharp at all. And I want to point out that from pictures that I've seen so far of the mirror polish finish, it looks really rounded, because, you know, mirror polish means it's usually hand polished, so all these lines are not going to be as pronounced as, say, for example, the machine finish or the bead blasted or sand blasted finish versions. I'm just going to call it media blasted from here on out because it's easier for me to say so. And on the side here, you actually have a flat edge, which is pretty cool. Now there's no rounding going on, but because the angles are gentle, it's like big cuts, as you can see, that it softens the edges out, so it really doesn't hurt at all. So with all of that said, I will say that this has virtually no hotspots. And you notice that I'm just trying to stay away from this half because I really don't want you guys to get distracted by the outer line over here. Just ignore that completely. Okay, so very quickly I'm going to talk to you guys about the fidgetability of the Rondelle spinner that I found so far. With the index finger and thumb grip, pulling back, pushing forward, absolutely no problem. I don't even have to go into detail about this because you guys can clearly see it is a very comfortable spinner, right? No hotspot, so not a problem doing either or. Even with your fourth finger, back or forth, no problem. Changing it up to the middle finger and thumb grip, we have pullbacks, push forwards, very comfortable. I particularly enjoy push forwards on this with my index finger because I'm able to hit this notch so comfortably. Even if I stop the spinner up here, for example, by pulling my index finger back, I actually reach this notch here. And then I get to this position where I can easily perform a nice forward kick or flick. And this is really enjoyable. That feeling here is really soothing. Just having your index finger right there is really, really soothing. Now you guys have noticed that my thumb has slipped out, and that will constitute to part of the fidgetability as well. And let me talk about that in a short while. Let me just finish talking about the comfort of fidgeting with this guy, okay? So, flicking forward, flicking backwards, fourth finger, index finger, pulling back, pushing forward, even with my standard grip, really, really fun. There's no hotspots, so this is really, really comfortable. And no matter where you land, it's gonna be easy for you to regenerate another spin. Seriously. Forward, forward, back, back. No problem, see? Now, the next part that I'm going to talk about, unfortunately, is going to be the buttons. And I'm going to talk about this now because this plays a huge part in the fidgetability of it as well. Now, the buttons are a little bit different from most other buttons that we've seen so far. And I've mentioned this in the earlier part of the video. But number one, because Ansa, besides being a designer, he is also a spinner enthusiast, and being a designer as well as a spinner enthusiast basically means that he wants to create something that is different from everything else. So he came up with these buttons, but the problem is these buttons don't really work very well because they are rounded outside. So it's like a convex and then a concave, and this concave area doesn't really suit people with flat grips like this. So if you have a pinch grip, it's going to be perfect. See how my fingers actually sit really nicely within this concave area, my thumb as well. Look, in a pinch grip, this is great. This is really great. You're able to just apply as much pressure as you need and then flick away, flick the hell away. That's not going to be a problem. But unfortunately for a flat grip though, it's not really that good. And the reason why is because, well, maybe because I have fatter fingers, I don't know, maybe I have meatier fingers. I don't think I have very meaty hands. But those of you who actually have meatier fingers, you're not going to really enjoy this simply because by the time you have a flat grip like this, you look at my index finger is kind of overflowing. You see, flowing out of the buttons. And that means that if I were to apply a little bit more pressure, there's a possibility that my finger is actually rubbing against the spinner body just like that. See? It's almost the same issue that the Talisman had with the buttons that were too small, but this one is not because the buttons are too small. Look at the buttons, they're obviously wide, but it's just that the buttons are kind of convexing outwards, so it doesn't really help to keep your finger or the meat of your finger away from the spinner frame. So this happens instead, and this is pretty unfortunate. And you also have to take note of your thumb as well. So that's the biggest problem. Now, because of this, I realized that I didn't want to put a lot of pressure when I'm holding it. So that also means that I'm not able to perform stronger flicks because, guys, you saw exactly what happened. My finger kind of slipped away from the button. So that's something you guys are going to have to take note of. This is the main issue that I have with the Rondelle spinner. But I've mentioned this earlier on as well, that I've given this feedback to Ansa, and Ansa said that he will be improving the buttons, so I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of improvements will be made and how this will change the entire experience with the Rondelle spinner. Now, I mentioned to you guys that I was using the Spinetics DNA buttons on this, and the reason why is because, number one, I realized that using buttons that are meant for press fit spinners would end up being too shallow. Because, you know, look at that. The bearings are really recessed in. Look at that lip. So it'll end up in the same issue with my fingers actually touching the spinner frame. So by using the Spinetics DNA buttons, I'm actually covering two things, or basically solving two issues. Number one, the DNA buttons are meant for spinners with the bearing retention system, and that means that the buttons are taller. Number two is because it's about the same width as the Rondelle buttons, as you guys can see, but it has a much more pronounced concave, so more real estate for the concave instead. And let me just show this to you guys up close, because I know I briefly showed it to you guys, but I didn't show it to you up close. So here we go. This is what it looks like with the DNA buttons on it. Look, so that's the height of it, which is a comfortable height. But watch, when I actually hold it, look guys, look, the buttons are keeping my fingers away from the spinner frame. So I can put more pressure, as much pressure as I want, and I don't even have that worry of my finger actually touching the spinner frame while I'm performing flicks like that. See? So this, guys, is a classic example of how buttons actually affect the experience you have with a spinner. Stop buttons go back on, and in comes a stubby for size comparison. Here you go. Actually, the height itself, it's smaller than a stubby, but because it's a tri, might be slightly bigger. So I'm just gonna average it out and then say that it's about the same size as a stubby. Yeah. Actually, that looks kind of cool. Wow, it does look kind of cool. Whoa. Let's see how it looks like. Oh, that's kind of sick. Let me slow down the Rondelle a little bit. See what kind of effect it looks like on the camera. Whoa. Guys, it's pretty sick. I'm gonna spin the Rondelle in the opposite direction. Look at that. Whoa, that's quite hypnotic. Wow, I really like this. I really like this effect. This is cool. Okay, enough of having too much fun, guys. I'm digressing. So guys, I'm gonna jump right ahead into my final verdict. What is my final verdict on the Rondelle spinner? Well, I've enjoyed it so far. I've actually had it for about a month. Yes, Anza sent it to me way beforehand, and this is his only prototype. So I'm really thankful that Anza has parted with it for the last month or so. Yes guys, I'm on the pre-order for the machine finish, and the reason why I'm getting the machine finish and not the mirror polish version is because it's just a personal taste. I'm a sucker for machining marks. Sometimes machining marks really are done really well, so I'm looking forward to see how that turns out on the retail version. And I will say that the media blasted version, well, this one is kind of like the media blasted version that I have on hand, is really comfortable. It's really smooth, feels good, feels really good, like satin. Such a soft, smooth feeling. I really like it. So all in all guys, very simplistic design, very interesting geometric design, and I am quite, I guess, impressed that Anza actually came up with this after being inspired by a Rondelle bead. Going for 80 USD, with all this machining and everything, I think the quality is going to be good. The standard's pretty good. Nice design by Conceptual Designs. The biggest surprise for me is that it's able to hit about 4 minutes on a two-handed table spin. Now I don't know what bearing this has right now. It feels like an SBV2, I might be wrong, but it's smooth, really quiet, as you guys can hear, or as you guys cannot hear. really quiet, very well balanced, and very comfortable. A very good fidgeting experience because no hotspots at all, guys. I've had it for such a long time and there's no complaint about it, really. The size is alright, not too big, not too small, very pocketable, very comfortable, and I'm enjoying it a lot. Pretty cool offering by Conceptual Designs. Good job, Anza. This is Anza's first spinner design, and I cannot wait to see what else he has up his sleeve. I know I'm just jumping between using his real name and his company name, so you know, if I say Anza, I mean Conceptual Designs. If I say Conceptual Designs, I mean Anza. I think you guys already know. Yeah, so I like it. I like it a lot. I think the Rondelle is a nice spinner. It looks good in my opinion. Very clean, very stylistic, very edgy, and you guys know I like angular stuff, and this is right up my alley. Not too expensive as well, and the fact this, well, let's just say that I received the retail version and I'm not too happy with the buttons. I could easily swap it out for another pair of buttons, you know what I mean? Because right now, Vietnam is killing it in the buttons game. Yeah. And that's about it, guys. I think basically I've covered everything that I wanted to cover about the Rondelle spinner. And I think I will ask Anza if it's okay for me to hold on to this for a little bit longer till the retail version arrives and I can give it a comparison like how I did with the Proto Cube and the Production Cube by the One Stop Fidget. So hopefully, yeah, Anza, I hope that you will give me the green light. Yeah. Oh, one more thing, guys. I don't know why I missed out on this. I think my brain's just going everywhere. But one thing I really like about this spinner is the same thing that I could say for the Talisman. Just looking at the way it spins, it looks like it's a floating ring outside of the buttons. And that's really cool. Yeah, if you guys want to be able to see the internal structure, or I should say the windows like this, then use buttons that are smaller. You know what I mean? Like these are 22mm, I believe. So if you use 19mm buttons, they're gonna be able to see some of those slots. That's if you guys really want. But let me give you an example. Even with this, okay, let me just tighten this. Even with the DNA buttons, you're gonna get the same effect. Look. Very beautiful, very well done. I like that. And that's about it, everyone. As always, links in the video description down below. Thank you so much for sharing in this slice of my life with me, and I hope that I provided enough information to help you decide whether or not the Rondelle spinner is gonna be a spinner for you. I like it so much that I already ordered mine, and this just appeals to me. It's right up my alley. very comfortable, very pocketable, nice triangular design. Yeah, I'm not so much of a tri guy, but this design pretty good. I like all these angles and everything. Virtually no hotspots, very comfortable and a very fun fidgeter. And you'll be doing a good deed as well because, like I said, proceeds go to charities. Thanks everyone, and I'll catch y'all in the next slice of my life. Gaga Boost.